Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing all well, all fine, and we are all ready for a new learning which we are going to have today. So, learning is essential to our existence. Just like food nourishes our body, information and continued learning nourishes our minds. Lifelong learning is an indispensable food tool for every corner of our organization of our mind. Today, continuous learning forms a necessary part in acquiring critical thinking skills and discovering new ways of relating to people from different cultures. To live a life without continuous learning is unthinkable. But do we know how to learn exactly? To guide us in this part, today we have Dr. Ravi Kumar Tati, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce. Prior to joining St. Mary's College, Dr. Ravi sir taught finance and accounting courses at European International College, Abu Dhabi. He has more than 20 years of teaching experience in various universities and business schools across India and abroad. He has been an editor and co-guide for doctoral thesis. As a project management trainer, he has trained senior bureaucrats on public uh, financial management at MCHRD. He has chaired sessions and presented papers in several international conferences and seminars. He has also published 13 articles in international journals, some of which are Scopus indexed and recognized by APDC. He has also worked on UGC-sponsored major research project on microfinance in Andhra Pradesh worth 1 million rupees. He has served as a head of research and consultancy at St. Mary's College. And this is, I think, some of the, achievements which Sir has. There's a long list to it. So I heartily welcome Ravi Sir for today's session. All over to you, Sir.
Thank you very much, man. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
audible, sir. You're audible. Sir.
Okay. Good morning, all of you. And today you're excited for many sessions as you have been going through every day. Okay. So today we are going to learn how to learn. Okay. There are many things that we have learned. We are, I think, excluding the teachers, we are about 29 or 28, right? Students, excluding me. If you include me, okay, and plus one. I want some volunteers who can say that from the childhood, can you list out what all you have learned, what you can remember? At times, as I was noticing children and as they are growing, maybe I have seen them when they were 2 years old and I'm seeing them when they're 20 years old, okay? And at 20 years, they were relating, my interaction with them when they were 2 years old. And I was surprised how they could remember such a small and petty thing so well for 18 long years. Okay, so are there any certain things so that you could learn by observing others, by seeing the situations? I want four people, maybe two girls and two boys, that they have learned that and have never forgotten from their childhood. So for you, maybe 16 or 17, I think 17, right? So there are many things that you have learned, and what are the things that you have not forgotten, and you can retrieve what you can just recollect. This is what I have learned at so and so age. This is what I have learned at so and so age. Two boys and two girls. Can we just, you can unmute yourself and then switch on your video, then speak to all of us. I think it's good that you volunteer, right? It's good that you volunteer instead of me asking you, right? I just want four volunteers, two from boys and two from girls. Can you please?
Abdul Wahab here, and
When we were kids, all of us, well, most of us, learned how to ride a bike. And even though we didn't ride a bike for like 5 years or 6 years, we still remember how to ride a bike. It's a muscle memory, and we still remember.
This one thing that you can boast, and you are aspiring to learn bike ride, right? When you are a small boy or 5 or 6 or 8 years old, you are waiting when I'll be getting that opportunity to learn driving or riding. Okay, that's wonderful. You're Mr.
Abdul Wahab.
Abdul Wahab. Thank you, Wahab. And another boy, please. He is excited to learn driving and he could learn it. Maybe it took a long time, but he could do it. Okay. Anybody else?
Adi Arun.
Adi.
Yeah. So when we were kids, we our mind is so open that we are excited to learn everything. So when I was a child, uh, I was trying to learn different languages. I was trying to walk. I was trying to run, and there were many things I was trying to learn. So yeah, I was trying to learn new languages, learning speech, understanding things. Yeah.
Okay. Learning language, one thing. Any other thing that you would like to add?
Understanding a language, learning it. Yeah.
Okay. Learning various languages is your passion. Okay. Right. Thank you so much, Adi. I'll come to girls. Two girls, please.
So this is Smriti. So since I was a child, I've always been a fan of drawing, and I really love to see all the different works of art that's like presented in museums. And I really love to study them. And even now, I love to learn new drawings, and I love to, spread my creativity on a blank sheet of paper.
Oh, drawing is your passion and you love it. Okay, that's good. Lastly, one more girl.
Good morning, sir. Arya Dagwale here. So, as a child, and even now, I can say I'm a person who is really introvert. Okay, so as a child, when I was 12-year-old, I had to perform and narrate a story to my schoolmates in the assembly. So I was really scared for that, and I just asked my dad, "What do I do?" So my dad said, "Ki you just focus and look at a pillar, concentrate there, and then you speak out so that you build up confidence. Don't look at people because their expression might change your way of speaking." So that is the one thing I still remember what my dad told.
Okay, great. So there are 4 skills they learned. Arya is good at public speak. Arya is good at public speak. Okay, and just bear with me, please. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there are 4 things that these 4 people they were aspiring. There's something igniting. It's like a lava, right? There's the first boy was very much excited when I'll get the opportunity to sit on the bike and start riding. The other person says, I anything that comes, a plain sheet and a pen is enough, or pencil is enough for me to just draw a sheet, draw a painting. And another person says that I just love using language. Okay, and many languages, many accents, I just love to use it. And uh, and some other person says that I'm interested in public speaking. Now let me tell you, let me ask you rather, have you ever forgotten what you've learned in your life, till now, from your childhood? Is there anything that you have forgotten what you have learned? Okay.
Yeah, certain languages we learned as a kid. If we come out of practice,
Yeah.
we need to brush it more.
That's great. Wahab, yeah, yeah. You know, there's one boy who's now he is a doctor. When he was a small boy of 5 years old, he came from Kota, Rajasthan. And first time when I just knocked at the door, then, he doesn't know even a bit of Telugu. He belongs to Telugu parents. He's a son of child of a Telugu parents, but he doesn't know even a bit of Telugu. So I just knocked at the door. At the time, I didn't know, proper Hindi, North Indian Hindi. So when I knocked at the door, then he opened the door and said, "Papa, koi Telugu wala aaya?" Right. So then this boy is very much a child of a Telugu parents, and he's not able to speak Telugu. And the same boy became man and he's a doctor now. He doesn't speak the same Hindi as he was speaking earlier. So what you're saying is absolutely correct. What could be the reason for this?
We are out of practice.
Yeah, we are out of practice. For example, I'm very good at reading and writing French. Okay. And I can understand very well French. But because of there's a gap, there's nobody with whom I can speak French. Okay. So there is no continuity of practice. So therefore, my French, it takes another 10, 15 days for me to come back to the track, even a month. There's no practice. So this is what happens, right? The answer I got from you. Now, is there anybody, who knows swimming in this 28, 30s, 8 students, 28 or 30 students?
Sir,
Yes.
I know, sir.
Yeah. Number one, Udhav knows swimming. Udbhav, I'm sorry.
Sir.
Udbhav knows swimming and yeah, Udbhav knows swimming. Yes, sir. Anybody else? You just speak up. That's enough.
I learned, sir, swimming in when I was in 6th standard and 8th standard, sir.
Yeah, 6th standard, about 10 or 11 years old. At that age, you have learned swimming. Okay. Is there anybody else along with Udbhav?
Sir.
Yes, ma.
Parinita, sir.
Yeah. Your Parinita. Okay. Yeah, Parinita. Parinita is the second person. Anybody else?
Sir,
Yeah. Name?
Saif.
Saif. Okay. 3 people know swimming. Okay. Anybody else?
Sir, Isha.
4. Very good. Next.
Sir, Ananya.
5. That's wonderful. And okay. That's it. Last person is Ananya. Fine. Okay. Some people may not be coming out. Okay. Whatever it is. I'm asking you one more question. Suddenly, if you happen to be in the water, have you ever experienced after a long time, long gap of 4 or 5 years, if you happen to jump into a swimming pool or somebody, you were going for a picnic and in the picnic spot, in the resort, somebody pushed you into the water and the water is about 8 feet deep. Okay. Now, I don't know whether you have confronted that.
Sir.
Yes.
Similar incident happened with me, sir, once.
Yeah, similar incident.
After the gap of 2 years, I went to swimming, sir. Suddenly I jumped in the water and
Suddenly you jumped into the water and then what happened?
No, sir. After 2 years gap, I went to swimming, sir.
So suddenly you went into the water.
Sir, no.
Come on.
I was very confident that I didn't forget swimming, and
Yeah.
I jumped into the water. But unfortunately,
you were struggling, right?
Yeah, I was struggling, sir. Again, that coach made me to learn swimming, sir.
Okay, right. Whether it is in the case of Wahab or in your case, Wahab in driving and you in swimming and languages, some of them, some skills that we learn require regular practice. Some skills, once we learn and we never forget. For example, for a couple of years, I was out of the country and I just stopped driving. Okay, completely stopped driving because that is on the right hand side. The driving is on the right hand side, and in India it is left hand side. Okay, so therefore I couldn't have I was not confident enough in that pattern. There's absolutely 2 years gap. Then I was thinking that I had to little bit practice. Believe me, immediately after I got into the seat, I started driving and without any difficulty. And, in your case, it is exceptional, skills like swimming, driving, you don't need to practice in most of the cases. As you just get into the water, get into the driver's seat, you keep learning. Okay. So now there are certain skills that require regular practice. There are certain skills that, unconsciously they're established, they're consolidated. Okay. Now our today's discussion will go to our presentation, please. Right. So we'll go to our presentation. And what are the learning strategies? Okay. What is learning? What is learning? Or what are the strategies that you have to employ or deploy for learning? Now, there are some specific activities, okay, actions that you take up, okay, to make things learn easier, faster, and more enjoyable. Yesterday, as I was thinking of, these days, what you're thinking, what you're speaking, your mobile phones, your electronic gadgets can hear, right? I think many of you know it. Okay, some of you may not know it, right? As you're holding the mobile phone in your hand, and if you keep on talking, and those things will be captured, and the same advertisements will be flashed at your screen, right? And same videos will be flashed at your screen. That is how the intelligence and digitalization is going. AI is going to that level. Fine. As I was just thinking and trying to consolidate the information on speaking how to learn, on the topic how to learn, and to address you, I was just going through. When I was going through, one small boy, of 2 years, he was resisting her mother. Okay, he was not at all interested in opening the notebook, and he was completely rejecting. The mother asked why. He was postponing. I'm saying 2 years boy. He was postponing. And the mother said, why do you want to do it tomorrow? He said, I will do it tomorrow only. Why not today? And he was saying, the moment I sit on the books, I get bored. And the mother says, I'll see to it that it is not boring for you. I'll make it interesting. And he was going on attacking, bombarding the mother, saying, how are you going to make it interesting? How are you going to eliminate boredom in my learning? So look at this, what we don't like. And some students, some children, you might have seen, they're, resisting the parents to go to school. It is not the things that they are going to learn from the books, but it is the, things that they are forced to learn in the new environment. For example, till they start going to the school, till you all started going to the school, you had the comfort and luxury of the affection of all the members of the family, right? There's a grandpa, there's a grandma, there are, the siblings and your parents. So, you're surrounded by love and affection. All of a sudden, you're just taken out of that environment and put into another environment where the players are totally new for your utter shock. And that is making you very uncomfortable, right? There are new boys and girls of the same age group coming from different culture. And there are new people, teacher one, teacher two, teacher three. There's a watchman, there's a bus driver. These are all totally new for you. Till you get familiarized, you have that feeling of insecurity, right? And that is where it is not enjoyable for the child, right? Now, it is not just learning from the books. He has to learn how to deal with the teacher, how to address the teacher, or how to interact with the teacher. It's very comfortable to interact with the parents, comfortable with the grandparents. But yeah, but when it comes to uh, the external environment, you will see so many people. You cannot just speak as you are speaking to your siblings at home with your friends. There should be a new strategy, and you have to learn that skill. Till you learn that skill, you'll continue to be unsecure. You have the feeling of a fear of the strangers. Okay, let's come back to the definition of Oxford. Specific action, learning strategy. Specific actions taken by the learner to make learning easier, faster, more enjoyable, okay, and more self-directed, more effective, and more transferable to new situations. More transferable to new situations. Now, let me tell you one fact, which I myself have experienced. Okay, uh, this is 23 years ago exactly from now. Okay, now there was something called overhead projector, OHP. Now, this OHP was used only on these special occasions, and nobody was using it. Then when I went to the principal and said, sir, am I permitted to use the OHP? Yeah, we want people to use it. Just take it and use it. People don't use it because it requires a lot of homework to write the films. It is like your PowerPoint presentation. In those days, manually, you have to take the transparent sheets and write on those transparent sheets all the side headings. And when you just put that sheet on the screen, and that will be displayed on the screen. Okay, that's overhead projector, and that's manual. Later on, your LCD projectors have come. Okay, now again, then I started using the LCD projectors maybe 2002 2003 area. Okay, and at that time also people were not using it because it takes time to type, right? Now, later on, you don't even know a projector called OHP. Now, it is the LCD projectors, the PPT, which is a common thing for you. Okay, and it is not something innovative. Tomorrow, something else will come. As I speak, with my just one wave, the things will be displayed on the screen. And that is how the technology is going to advance, right? So just because I was the person to use, the overhead projector in my college, I'm the pioneer, or because I'm the first person to use the LCD projector. No, it is not. At that situation, you are, a step ahead, but that's not going to help you forever. There are new technologies, new methodologies coming forward. Let me honestly tell you, the way that you make slides, I'm honestly telling you, I cannot make, right? My situation has to be adaptive, right? So the knowledge that I gain must be transferable to the new situation, else the learning is incomplete. Okay, right. Now, the learning strategies, I divide into two broad categories. Okay, the direct strategies and indirect strategies. Direct strategies and indirect strategies. Uh, uh, may I ask you one question? Is it disturbing? Is there a noise? Is there a
No,
noise?
sir.
No,
Not
sir.
much, sir. It's okay.
No, sir.
No, sir, everything is okay.
Okay, thank you. Right. Yeah, the direct strategies and the indirect strategies. Okay, now what are their indirect strategies? Memory strategies, cognitive strategies, compensation strategies. Now, all that you have seen, the four examples that I got from you, you can fit into these six types of strategies. All these 6 strategies you can split in, you can make categorized broadly into direct and indirect strategies. The learning strategies broadly to direct, indirect. The direct 3 and indirect 3. Indirect 3 are metacognitive strategies, affective strategies, social strategies. Okay, we'll just look into these strategies one by one. Direct strategies. Direct strategies. Okay, memory. Memory. You know, what is that you do in memory? You know, creating mental linkages. When you're memorizing things, what is that you're doing? You're creating memorizing linkages and applying images and sounds. You know, my weakness is, unless, you know, I'm more used to reading and reading and reading, you know, in a day, I think around, if I'm just not doing anything, around 150 pages I'll be reading. But if I'm actively reading, it is about 400 to 500 pages per day, right? Unless something is in written, I just don't remember. You speak so many times, I don't remember. You know, my listening capacity is very poor, but my reading and memorizing, it's very strong. So if I read something and I easily remember, but if you say something, I may remember, I may not remember. Okay. So memorizing, creating mental linkages and applying images and sounds. Now reviewing well, you know, in the memory, reviewing well, employing the action, employing the action. You know, I think many of you may be knowing the cone, the pyramid, okay, the triangle. You know, the triangle at the base is very broad. As you go up, it is very narrow. The pyramid or the cone. At the top, it is very narrow, right? Now, the research says that people remember things uh, more easily. Come again. People remember things more easily when they redo it. When they redo it. Okay. Now, why I say that you will never forget driving and swimming in your lifetime. If you have learned this swimming or driving thoroughly, you will never forget these 2 skills. Why? Because, you know, whatever the teacher says, you will experiment it. You know, let's say if it is driving, the driving school master, you know, he tells you how to hold the steering, and exactly you will be doing. And he tells you how to apply the clutch or brake, and you see him doing that, and exactly you will apply that. You know, when you're exactly trying to do what others are doing, and those skills you don't forget, right? Okay, and frequent usage. And I'll tell you, you don't remember many phone numbers. Most of your phones, mobile phones, may contain 200 numbers, 100 numbers, 200 numbers, if it is students. And if it is teachers like us, about 1,000 numbers, 1,500 numbers, and like that, right? And all of those numbers we may not remember. I think if it is, you know, if you're good at memory, you may remember 10 mobile numbers. Okay, mobile numbers. But there are certain mobile numbers that are phone numbers that you remember. Why? Because frequently, if you're typing the same number, it's easy to remember. Even when you're doing banking transaction online, you know, repeatedly 10, 15 times, if you're entering your account number, you remember the account number. And you read 10 times, you don't remember. Okay, so that's what employing action. And the rest, you know it, reviewing, applying, creating, all these things, you know it. Okay, applying images and sounds, you know it. You know, but when you employ in action what you're learning, and it's how you know, that's easy to remember. You don't need to put efforts, extra efforts. Hey, what is this? You just uh, you just do exactly what the teacher does in the class, right? You know, my teachers, from my first class to my master's class, some of my teachers are my models. Let me honestly say, some of my teachers, the best of the teachers I had, and some of their strategies I employ, and I just imitate, I just follow those styles of, teaching or content delivery. So therefore, it's easy for me to remember those things. Right. Memorizing is one thing. Okay, memorizing. Cognitive, practicing. You know, more the this is what I told you. More you practice, more it is easy for you. Receiving and sending messages strategies, analyzing and reasoning, creating structure for input and output. You're more analytic in this type of direct strategies. You're cognitive. You reason. So many people might be sleeping under the tree of apples. Okay, so many apples they might have consumed. Okay, whenever they are falling down to the ground. And none of them thought the way that Newton thought. Okay, none of them thought. And none of them thought that, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, it's very common thing. It's very common thing. It's a very simple, Earth has a gravitational force. It's nothing. Yes, it's true. But before that, people didn't know that Earth has a gravitational force. It's a magnet. It attracts. It doesn't allow anything to fly over, within its magnetic field. Many people didn't know that. It is Mr. Newton started thinking reasonably. The problem in our learnings, in our schools, colleges, universities is anybody who says this will be out of the class. Out of the class. I'll tell you how. My daughter's classmate, one fellow, he was listening to the, the story of a prodigal son. How many of you know the story of prodigal son? Anybody knows the story of prodigal son?
So
No
are you
idea,
talking
sir.
about Icarus or the one which flies or something? Are you talking about that story?
Yes, yes.
Are you talking about Icarus, the sun who flies and he melts his wings in the sun? Are you talking about that?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just brief it quickly.
Okay.
There's one boy, one son, and he's a son of a very rich man. And this rich man's son, he went into the company of bad friends, boozing, doing all sorts of evil and wicked things. And finally, the pocket money that's given to him was not sufficient. And one day he said, I just don't want to stay with you, Dad, and just divide the property between us, my brother and me. And Dad divides the property. Okay. And he goes away, away from his country, and wastes all his money, and finally, he becomes a poor fellow, and he started working as a servant, a slave boy, in another country. Then he starts realizing, what is this I'm doing? In my father's house, even the servants don't get this treat. I'm trying to feed myself with the husk that is given to the pigs, the swines. Okay, so what a miserable situation I'm in. Now let me go to my dad and says, I don't deserve to be your son, but let me at least be a servant at your home. So he starts going and he goes to the house, and he was about to say that, and the father, father felt so happy, and he commands him to, he commands his servants to wash him, put on new clothes, and he becomes again afresh. Okay. Now he was thinking that he will be treated as a slave and things like that. Okay. Now this is the story of prodigal son. The prodigal son returns back, right? And the story ends. The boy comes back. That's the end of the story. Fine. That's the, to explain how loving the father is. The story is.
Sir,
So, yes. Uddhav. Udbhav, sorry.
Sir, where is the story available? Sir, where is the story available? The prodigal son?
This story is available in, I think, in Gospels, in Bible. Okay, and
Oh, in Bible.
yeah, it is there in some of the textbooks also as English lesson. Okay,
Okay, as one of the English lessons.
yeah, I don't know in which English textbook it is, which class English textbook this story is there. Okay, I don't remember that, but it is a common story all over the world. Fine. So this boy is a prodigal son. You know, this boy, John Moses is his name. Right. And we keep sharing the stories of this boy, whatever happens in the class, and we keep enjoying. Now, one day, the story being narrated by the teacher. Okay. And this is not a regular textbook, but it is from in the class of moral science. The teacher, just as I have taken the story, the teacher picked up the story and she started narrating the story. Right. When she was narrating the story, John Moses asked, "Teacher, what happened to his mother? Is his mother not available at home? Is she not there at home?" Is the question he asked. This boy, Moses, asked this question. The teacher became very furious and said, "What nonsense you're talking, stupid boy, sit down." What's wrong in this question? Can you make out what's wrong in this question? Why the teacher has to scold him? Yes. What's wrong in this question? Yes. Can you please make out what's wrong in this question? The question asked by the boy, why the teacher became so furious?
Maybe he is going out of the box.
He's speaking out of the box, right? And my daughter says, when you don't have the answer, you become aggressive. I don't know where she got that word. When you don't have the answer, you become aggressive. At 7th, 8th standards, children are thinking this way. Children are thinking this way. They're thinking out of the box. And if I want my child to have an overall personality as a teacher, if I want my boy or a girl to develop into a holistic personality, then I should start thinking about the thought that he got. The thought that he got is, what happened? The story doesn't even speak of one word about his mother, right? Is it not out of the box thinking? Now, this is what? Analyzing, reasoning. This is lacking. That's why even if somebody attempts to reason and that's being put off, the ignition is completely put off. Doused, the fire is doused, right? So that is why we are not having innovations. Many innovations are not coming out of this country because of this attitude, right? So analyzing and reasoning, creating structures for input and output. Okay, now, what we do is when I say, let's say balance sheet, you're all going to learn balance sheet in your BBA program. I say balance sheet. When I speak on the balance sheet, okay, you take my input, my explanation, you surf through all the content that is available on the internet, and you go through the textbook description, okay, and you just come to a conclusion that, the balance sheet can be prepared, okay, vertically and horizontally. You come to a conclusion, right? And if you are an out-of-box thinker, why the balance sheet should be tallied? You will ask that question. When you ask that question, that's where you're aiming at perfection in learning balance sheet, right? So creating structure for input and output. Then, yeah, why the balance sheet should be tallied? That's a question. Then you get the answer, you search for the answer, and you keep asking your teachers, you keep asking your friends. You're all busy in tallying the balance. You're all busy in preparing the balance sheet and tallying it, both the liabilities and the assets. But why should it tally? Why? The day you start asking that question, then learning the entire thing becomes easy. Okay, so you create an input output structure. Then third strategy of direct strategies is compensation strategy, guessing intelligently, overcoming limitations in speaking and writing. Guessing intelligently. Yeah, this is exceptional. Not everybody has the intelligence, of foreseeing. Okay, it is the intuition. It is the intuition, right? Now, overcoming limitations in speech. Sometimes what happens is you know the answer, but something inhibits you from presenting what you know. Yeah, you're all very good, enthusiastic, energetic learners. But in my case, you're 100 times, 1,000 times much better than me. Yes, frankly, I say this fact. Why? Because when my teacher asked me some questions, just as I asked you questions, I was so, scary. I was so shivering. I was shivering, and my knees were knocking as my teacher asked me to stand up in the class at master's level, right? And she was asking some questions, and you know, I know most of the answers for that, but I was not able to put into proper wordings and sentences to speak out. Right. So this is very important. You have this limitation. Some people have good thoughts, excellent, brilliant ideas to get. But when it comes to the presentation, okay, they lack in that. That's why we also had one session, okay, yesterday or so you had a session on the presentation. Okay, presentation of the slides and all those things, but it is also presentation of speaking, written presentation. Okay, oral presentation also is important, right? So three types of direct strategies we have seen, and three types of indirect strategies. Okay, number one is metacognitive strategies. Metacognitive strategies, what is this? Centering your learning, arranging and planning your learning, evaluating your learning. Okay, centering your learning. Hey, what is that you want to learn? You must know, right? Right? You must know. Sometime back, somebody was asking, my son doesn't know what to do after his BTech. I said, what's his percentage? 98 percentile. Uh, 98 percentile in his bachelor's program. Okay, so I said, he has done bachelor's with such a percentage. He doesn't know what specialization to take in his master's program in MS in US. That's ridiculous, right? You didn't learn him to you didn't help him to learn the skill. You were only busy at the scores, the marks, the grades, right? It is just the evidence of what you have learned. A certificate is a piece of paper which is the evidence of what you have learned. Now, what happens is very often we have the certificate, but we lack the skill that are put forth in that certificate. Right? This is what we're doing. Right? And you must know what you're doing. You must know what you're doing. Every equation that you learn, you must have a logic. And centering your learning, there may be so many things on the internet, but if I give you a task of uh, make a presentation on learning styles. If I give you this task, make a presentation of effective public speaking. Now, nothing should be visible to you. There are tons of information on the internet, unlike in the previous days. And you must be able to focus on what you want to achieve. Center your learning, what you want to learn. You must know what you're going to learn, what you want to learn. Arrange and plan for your learning, right? Now, when I was in masters again, let me tell you, I had my mentor for my academics, okay? And he used to tell me at the end of the sessions classes, I used to go to his office and he used to guide me, counsel me how to prepare the run, how to just take down, note down the running notes while the lecture is on. Okay, as the lecture goes on, you had to jot down, go on writing. That's called running notes. And once the running notes is over, then come back home, there's a fresh notebook. And what you heard and what you read in the textbook, you had to consolidate both, okay? And come out with the answer. You write a question, probable questions for the examination, you write down, right? And you must have a proper planning for play, the play time and, the entertainment time and for, study times, arrange properly. And learning also, there are 6 subjects, what to learn when. You must identify the timings also. So arrange and plan for your learning, evaluate your learning. To what extent I have learned. Metacognitive strategies is one of the strategies in your indirect strategies. Okay, evaluate your learning. Go on learning. Where are you? Yeah, recently one of my colleagues was saying, I have learned this course, I have learned that course. Do you have certificate? Yeah, no, I don't have certificate. What's the evidence of your learning? I learned this, I learned that, but what's the evidence? There is an assessment at the end of the certification. Okay, now where is the certificate? Now, I didn't give the test. I didn't write the test, or I didn't attempt the test. When you didn't attempt the test, now how do I know that you have learned it? How do you know that you have learned it? Examinations, the assessments, be it, a teacher may ask you to present. A teacher may ask you to write a descriptive exam, attempt the descriptive questions. A teacher may ask you to participate in the group discussion, right? So the output of those activities, my mentor, when he says you have to have a running notes, you have to have a, fair notebook, and the outcome should be visible, right? You must evaluate your learning. When my teacher asked me some questions, or when somebody asked me, hey, look at this, the beginning of the session, I said, or middle of the session, I was asking, the balance sheet need not tally. Similarly, as I was just, entering into a community, one of the participants asked me, what are you doing, boy? Yes. So I said, Bhaiya, I'm doing MCOM. Oh, MCOM means accounting, right? Yeah, yes, Bhaiya. Hey, Ravi, I got a doubt. What is the debit and credit? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the term debit and credit? I know I had this doubt for a long time. When people ask you, when somebody asks you in the interview, when it is asked in the examination itself, when it is needed on the job, if you are not able to, retrieve it and use it, okay, then what's the use of your learning? Sir, I learned it and I forgot. Sir. Now, evaluate your learning. Evaluate your learning. What's your learning? The second strategy of your indirect strategies, effective strategies. Okay. First thing that you have to do when you learn something is lower your anxiety. Don't be panicky. Yeah, BBA, how it's going to be, BCom, how it's going to be. Okay, BSc, how it's going to be. It's, need not be worried. Lower your anxiety level. New friends are, till now we're very comfortable for 12 long years, and in some cases, 5 long years, we had the same set of friends. Okay, a couple of friends along with us joined St. Mary's BBA program, but still there's, an anxiety, a kind of unknown anxiety lurking in our mind, right? Lower that anxiety, Then, yeah, come on, Wahab, you can do it, okay? Pariniti, you can do it, You have done so many exams, you have done so many classes, you have, overcome. Right? You can do it. Encourage yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, taking care of your emotional temper. Okay, emotional temper. You know, at 26, at the age of 26, I was addressing a, hall packed with all defense, defense officers, not below the rank of colonel. All of them are not below the rank of colonel, right? I didn't know that I was about to speak to such a gathering, but I was bold enough to take up a topic and address. Okay, the topic that I was speaking was terrorism and economy perspective. Okay, terrorism revisited. I'm sorry, terrorism revisited and economy perspective. How it's going to affect the economies. Okay, that's a topic. And some of the issues that I was speaking are very disturbing, and the officers were looking at each other. Look at this. There was an anxiety. Okay, and that anxiety is lowered, right? So similarly, when you are learning new things, okay, you are, excited. Okay, anxiety is somewhat having a negative tone, right? Lower it and take bold, take boldness, bold step. The step that you've taken itself to be in BBA program is bold step. Let all your emotional tempers be normalized. Then the third strategy in indirect strategies is social strategies. Social strategies like what? Asking questions, cooperating with others, empathizing with others. Hey, you must feel the way that others feel. What if I ask a question? Okay, what that fellow thinks. Okay, he thinks that I don't know a particular concept, so let me not ask, right? But if you think the other way, if I ask a question, my friend will definitely answer me and explain me. If you think that way, the second thought will encourage you to go to your friend and ask it. If the first thought is troubling you, the first thought is, uh, if I ask something, my friend thinks that I'm Buddhu. Okay, I don't know anything. I'm just dull-headed, only dung. Okay, if you allow these thoughts, what happens? You restrain from asking what you don't know from your friends. You restrain from getting the information from your friends. Okay, and the learning stops there. Then think the other way. The other way is my friend will definitely clarify my doubt, right? If you go with the second thought and your friend really help you, okay, really help you, okay, and clarified all your doubts, what you're feeling? Hey, you learned this particular thing from your friend. You're happy. You're happy for two reasons. One thing, your friend is happy to help you. Second thing is you got some information. You're excited. You're happy, right? Now, when somebody comes to you, don't forget your struggle, the struggle between the negative thoughts of, okay, negative thoughts of, your friend will ill-treat you, and the positive thought of your friend will encourage you and give you information. So there was a struggle. When somebody comes to you and he also comes with the same feeling, same thought. So when somebody comes to you, don't forget that you once had in the same situation, but your friend eliminated all that and he was a very good friend of you. He became very good friend of you. You started getting information from him. Freely you have received and freely give. Your friend didn't receive anything, right? And your friend didn't receive anything in exchange to encourage you, to give you information, to make you learn a particular thing, right? Freely you have received, yeah? Freely you also give. And don't just try to contain the information selfishly. Empathize with others. That's what. Think the way that your friend thinks. Think in the interest of, if you were there, how would you feel if you discourage, okay, disappoint one of your classmates empathize, cooperate with others. The more you cooperate and collaborate, people think, okay, I will lose my dignity. That's, you know, that's a stupidity, I say. It is not dignity, it's a stupidity to think that if I come down and collaborate with people, you will be losing your dignity. You know, you'll not lose your dignity, you will amass the stupidity, right? So these are social strategies. Social strategies. Yeah, I'll tell you. Uh, I had a friend who is very introvert. You know, introvert. I do not know whether he's introvert or overconfident. Uh, you know, anything that he learns, he never shares with us. And he was the state ranker, top 8 or 10th rank in our plus two. Okay, or yeah, 10th or plus two, 12th class. So eighth rank holder, right? Now, that fellow, he's brilliant, no doubt, but he doesn't share the information, he doesn't discuss with us, right? And we were three friends, one fellow who did his BTech and he's in NASA, Seattle now, and you can see me now. And that fellow is not there, right? So nothing wrong in asking questions, go on asking, collaborate with people, cooperate with your friends, empathize with your friends. This is the best strategy, social strategy, best strategy, okay, to learn things. I consider in the indirect strategies, the third one, the social strategy, is the best strategy. Okay, it's the best strategy to learn. Right. Memory strategies, you know, I'm going a bit deep. Okay, if the time permits, I'll try to finish it off. Yeah. Learning strategies broadly, direct strategies, indirect strategies.
Indirect.
Okay, and three broad strategies of direct, three broad strategies of indirect. I'll go to the details even more deeper. Yeah, memory strategies. Memory strategies. You know, creating mental linkages. Mental link. How do you link the, you know, faculties, mental faculties, grouping, associating, elaborating, placing new words into a context. You know, we had the practice of using a word, pick up a word, teacher tells us, you know, pick up a word and put in your own sentences. Have you ever experienced that? Yeah, our Hindi teachers, our Telugu teachers, they used to say that, they used to make us do that. You know, they used to do a word and ask us to, you know, use in our own sentences, in our own context. Okay, so this is one of the kinds of exercises, creating mental linkages, grouping, associating, elaborating. Okay, associate. For everything that you learn, every situation that you learn, you try to relate to the given situation, relate to the given context. Okay, that is creating mental link. For anything that you learn, for example, you will be learning, you will be having organizational behavior in your BBA program. There are so many courses, I think 5, 6 courses in every term, there are 6 terms, fine. So one of the courses I'm telling, organizational behavior, in that, you know, you have motivational theory, right? Abraham Maslow was the person who proposed this theory. You know, what he says is, you know, all the needs are prepared in hierarchy, stepwise. And he says there are some physiological needs, and there are some, you know, there are some needs, esteem needs. Okay, there are some self-actualization needs. Okay, right? He categorizes all the needs into 3 types. And physiological needs he places at the bottom level. And he says man is after all for food, shelter, and clothing, right? And once those 3 are met, he goes to the next level, esteem needs. What are the esteem needs? The social respect, okay, dignity, and all those things, social status. Then after that, he thinks, oh, I must achieve something that is tangible even after my demise, departure from this world. People should remember me for generations. That's a desire of the human. That's the last level. Very few people go to that level, right? Many people are happy with the first level. Okay. When I said this, this is a full length topic. Okay. I just put it in one word or one minute. If this is the topic, you'll be learning this exhaustively, elaborately. Okay. Don't worry. Okay. From your teachers. If this is the theory, when you learn this theory, any situation that you come across after you complete your BBA program and join the job, you must be able to link it, relate it to the context. Okay. And if you're trying to create linkages and the learning becomes easy. Okay. Learning becomes easy. I'll tell you one more thing. Okay. I'll tell you one more thing. Carrot is red because of the carotene present in the carrot. Okay. And carrot, yeah, that's the thing. Immediately after listening to this content in the classroom, I come and you go home and just open the refrigerator and pick out carrot. Why? Oh, it's red. You just see it. The next is that applying images and sounds. When you see the carrot being red color, a different red color. This is not red. It's what is that? It is not orange color. Orange. So it is red because of the presence of the carotene, and which is cause for the production of the generation of vitamin A. So using imagery, semantic mapping, using keywords, okay, representing sounds in the memory, these are all applying images and sounds in the memory structure. And when you're reviewing, you will review in a structured way. Okay, for example, introduction to financial management is the topic. Now you listen to the lecture and go through the topic, the lesson number 1, from first page to the last page of that lesson. At the end of the lesson, you must be able to structure it. Okay, like how? What is financial management? You must know. Okay, and who is the person who does this financial management? The financial manager, the controller of finance. Designation title may be different from different organizations. That's not the thing. There's somebody responsible for managing the finance. You may call it vice president. Okay. So what is financial management? Who is responsible for this financial management? What are the objectives of financial management? Okay. And what are the limitations of financial management? What are the methods used in this management? Financial management. That's it. Okay. At least this basic information of that particular topic you are bound to learn. Now, this is one model I'm saying for every topic, every course.
Sir,
yes,
in any particular, you have to learn the particular information for any topic, no, sir?
Yeah, particular information, the crux you must learn, and that's a basic thing. Okay, maybe that's for 2-3 lines you may, and you have to structure the entire learning, right? Why you had to structure the entire learning? You had to present before the assessor. Who is the assessor? The examiner. The examiner, looks at your presentation. Presentation not necessarily be the examination paper. Sometimes it may be assignment. A teacher may give you assignment. In the assignment also, the teacher simply gives you an assignment of just 1 line. That's it. And that 1 line question of assignment, you have to structure it that so and so thing. Okay, you have to go by the structure, reviewing. Then employing, yeah. Is that okay? Anything? Would you like to speak something else? Udbhav?
Nothing, sir, nothing.
Okay.
You continue, sir.
Yeah. Employing action. This is what already we have, discuss using physical response to using physical response. Okay, using mechanical techniques. The driving example I told you, right? Let me tell you 100 times how to use the clutch. Okay, when you're going up, you must hold properly the clutch and the brake properly in a balanced way. Let me tell you 100 times, you will never be perfect unless you experience that clutch and the brake. Unless you start using when you're climbing a road, when there is an uphill, right? When you're climbing the uphill, unless you experience that particular situation, using physical response to what you're learning. The teacher, the instructor might have told you, but it is you who must, apply that. Use physical, mechanical techniques. Okay. Now, very often students try to join the classes for the quantitative papers, like, you have quantitative techniques or, business mathematics or business statistics or accounting, okay, financial accounting 1, 2, financial management, security analysis and portfolio management, derivatives, risk management, okay, operations research. So
business law also, sir.
Yeah.
Business law also.
I'm saying, technical papers. I'll come to business law. That's another angle. When it is, papers with numerics, simply students march into the class, okay, just with iPhone. That's it. Nothing else in the hand. I will tell you, let me tell you, I may be an excellent teacher, even if I am Pandit, the author of financial management, Anthony, the author of, financial accounting from Harvard. They come and teach you. Let me tell you that you will never learn anything. Take it for granted you don't learn anything if you're just coming to the teaching enclosure without the supplemental material with you. Why? Because as it is being discussed, you have to, respond physically. You have to write down. You have to write down. Some of my Turkish students, Lebanese students, they used to say, the moment I put the figures on the boards, they say, doctor, no numerics. Immediately they reject. How can I teach finance without numerics? How can you expect me to teach accounting without numerics? A theory is enough, doctor. Theory is enough. Why? How is it possible? They are averse to the digits, numerics, numbers. I said these calculations are so simple calculations. They are not mathematics. They are simple plus minus, multiplications and divisions only, and very easy. Okay, and these calculations, even 5th or 6th standard students in my country can perform. They say, oh, doctor, you Indians are very good at mathematics. No, we are not. So don't teach us. Don't teach us. Squarely they reject. Okay, so that then if they reject, I can never teach them to prepare an income statement. I can never teach them to prepare a balance sheet. I may be knowing excellent, I may be presenting excellent, but unless they are interested, as long as they are averse, I will not be able to teach them anything. So you must respond with your notebooks, with your pencil, with your pen, with your calc, everything, all that is related to all your numeric subjects, right? Using mechanical techniques, if it is, sometimes you may be using laboratory things. Okay. Then number 2 of the cognitive strategies. Okay. Right. Number 2 of the direct strategies is cognitive strategies. And we are going even deeper, some of the points. Number 1 is practicing. Number 2 is receiving and sending messages, analyzing and reasoning, creating structure for input and output. Okay, repeat. Some of the tables, how many of you know 20 tables? All 20 tables. All 20 tables. I was speaking to one student who has just passed +2 just like you and was aspiring for a top B schools in the country and finally landed in Delhi. Okay, so then the student is from international school and she was telling, we don't learn tables like that. Okay, we don't learn tables like that, right? We learn by logic. That means I concluded that she doesn't know tables. Okay, not even 10 tables she can tell. But let me tell you, if you don't know the tables, when it comes to the calculation, for everything you have to depend on the calculator. May not be available to you all the time. It may not be available to you all the time. So therefore, certain things you have to learn it by practicing. Okay, and table learning is one such example. And some of the equations, very often students ask me when I'm going on speaking, and presenting so many equations on the board or on the slide, they'll be perplexed and say, doctor, how do we remember these many formulae? You are saying you're displaying so many formulae. How do we remember? There is no shortcut but to practice. And this practice involves repeating the same thing. What is that? You try different problems of the same format so many times. Okay, you will get it. Formally practicing with sounds and writing systems and recognizing and using formulae. Okay, and recombining, practicing naturalistically, 20 tables we know, and most of you do not know. It is not that I'm boasting, but that is helping us in several ways.
Sir, I know only till 12 tables, sir.
Oh, wow. So, 12 tables. How many of you know, okay, out of curiosity, I'm asking, right? How many of you know 20 tables?
Sir, from 13 to 20, sir, I can calculate, sir, but I cannot say like that.
That's what this generation, yeah, they can do up to 50 tables, but by calculating manually. But if you know ready-made available, you can do faster the accounting or any mathematical equations faster.
Yeah.
Okay, than others who are calculating. That's the advantage, right? And that's no shortcut. Again, it is practicing, okay, recombining, practicing naturalistically. Okay, it's simple way. If you ask me, a table, I'll just finish it in 1 minute. I finished a table in 1 minute. Okay, because I don't take efforts to recollect. I don't put my energies to retrieve back. It is there. Okay, so it is so natural. It is so natural. Right, receiving and sending strategy or messages.
Sir, I wanted to.
Yes.
Sir, for accounting and mathematics, multiplication and division are very important.
Yeah, all four symbols are important.
Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division.
If you know these usage of these four, that's it. You're very comfortable in your BBA program.
Yes, sir.
If you know these four symbols, using these four symbols effectively, okay, then your BBA is cool. Okay,
yes, sir.
It's easy. Getting the ideas quickly is one important thing in receiving and sending messages. Using resources for receiving and sending messages. Okay, using resources. Yeah, sometimes we get the, as I speak to the students, as I'm addressing the students just like this, I get excellent ideas from you guys. Believe me, I get excellent ideas from you. And most of them, I just jot down while I'm speaking to you or while you speak to me, or some of them soon after the session, I note down, okay? And some of them I apply for myself, some of them I apply it to present in the session because they're practically proven. When you say that, so this is my experience, that's practically proven. So I can share that information for others' edification, for others' advantage. Or sometimes I use it for myself when it is worth using for myself. Okay, so you use the resources while doing this. Okay, the resource can be a, an electronic gadget to a paper, right? So analyzing and reasoning, reasoning deductively. Okay, analyzing expressions, deduct. So much of information is narrowed down. when I've picked up my, research topic, the topic was World Bank aid and structural reforms in Andhra Pradesh. That's a very big topic. Then they said, this is a huge topic. Then they said, you had to narrow it down. I just narrowed it down to World Bank aid and reforms in power sector.
Sir,
Yeah, reforms in power sector. Then they said, this is also a bigger thing. You had to narrow it down. I said, financial power sector reforms, I'm sorry, World Bank aid and power distribution systems. They said, this is also big. You have to narrow it down. Finally, I landed up with a topic, okay, financial performance of power distribution companies in Andhra Pradesh. So you had to, so much of information, you have to reduce it, okay, to a pointed level. Yes, somebody is speaking, ma. Yes, somebody is speaking. Come on. Somebody was attempting to add something. Who is that?
Sir, me, sir.
Please.
Sir,
Harsha? Udbhav?
Harsha, I think.
Harsha? Harsha, you're saying something?
No, sir, it's not me.
It's not you. Okay. Okay. Udbhav, saying something? Okay.
Nothing, sir, nothing.
Okay, okay. So you must use the resources for receiving and sending the messages. Okay, what are the resources that we are using for, sending and receiving the messages? We are using Zoom, and somebody uses Teams, Microsoft Teams. Somebody uses something else. There are varieties of platforms in learning, right? Okay. Now, gone are the days where we learn. In the olden days, people used to the resources. Let me tell you the resources. Okay, everybody has to carry a bag of sand and lay it down, okay, on the ground and make it flat like a slate, okay, and that becomes a slate. The teacher comes and writes in the sand, which is very big in size, writes in the sand. And the students have to use their finger to write. There's a sending of message and there's a receiving of the message through this bag of sand. That was the days. I'm talking about 100, 200 years ago. And at advanced level only, they used to use the paper. Now, at the KG level, people are using technology. So there's no one way of sending or receiving the messages. There are many or multiple manifold resources that we use to receive and send the messages. Analyze and reasoning. Okay, analyze and reason. Reason deductively. Okay. Oh, I think I have overlapped. I have been overlapped. I'm sorry. Yeah, analyzing expressions, analyzing contrastively. Okay, analyzing contrastively across the disciplines, not necessarily the languages, across the disciplines. Okay, because sometimes, there are certain things we think that, this is related to banking. Oh, it's BCom course. There's a paper course in BCom. We should not limit to think only banking means BCom. It's not like that. Tomorrow, all you guys are going to be working on banks. Most of them may be financial institutions if your specialization is finance. So, yeah, you think across the disciplines, right? And you try to translate, you try to, accounting and finance. Let me tell you one example, then jump to the next point. Accounting and finance. Accounting ends where auditing starts. Auditing and accounting. Auditing is checking back of what are the things that are done in accounting. What are the entries that are made in accounting? Okay, so auditing starts where the accounting ends. Okay, auditing starts where the accounting ends. Accounting ends with the balance sheet. Once the balance sheet is submitted to the auditor, he cross-checks from the beginning till the end, from the first day of April of that year to the next last day of March of the next year, right? So he examines the entire thing. What is that in this process? It is not just, he translates the figures into his convenience for the audit purpose. Okay, and he translated it. He tries to codify the information, right? The next is creating structure, taking notes, summarizing, highlighting. This is important thing. When you're learning, taking notes is very important. Yeah, if you're taking running notes, if you're taking running notes, take it for granted, take it for granted, you will be successful all through your career. If you have the habit of taking the running notes, take it for granted as my word, you will be the most successful person till the end of your career, till your retirement. You make it a habit. When it is habit, what happens, when it habit, it doesn't end with the completion of your master's program, MBA. It doesn't complete there. It doesn't end there. It goes even when it goes into even your job. Every instruction that is given by your boss, you just jot down, right? When you write something, it keeps on telling you, hey, you have to do that. You have to do that. You have to do that when you're on the job. Okay, when you're taking running notes, you listen, you see on the board and you write, you will never forget. Threefold effect, impact. You're looking onto the board, what's written, you're listening, what's being spoken by the instructor, and at the same time you're writing. And this thing, it's very difficult to forget. It's very difficult to forget, let me tell you. It's very hard to forget and easy to remember. Then summarize what you're doing, what you're listening, what you're writing, and highlight when you're reading, whenever you're writing, highlight. Yeah, this helps us to recall important things, important sentences, right? Let me tell you one secret in terms of assessment. When your examination papers are submitted, we teachers, as teachers, we don't read the answer scripts just word by word, sentence by sentence. In one glance, we will come to know where the error is, where the mistake is. Don't just think that we don't read it. We don't read definitely word by word. We don't read sentence by sentence, but definitely we read the entire content that you present on the examination paper, right? So when we have one glance, our eye straight goes to the point where you've written nonsense. Okay, and this is true. This is the secret I'm telling. So what is that? What is that which helps us to, make out that? We search for the keywords, the technical words for every subject. Sometime back, a couple of minutes, yeah, I think 10 minutes before, somebody was saying, so business law is one course where you require more of practice. You have to link it. Yeah.
I only asked, sir, that one.
Yes, Udbhav said, you have to link it. Contract Act is one topic in business law. And this Contract Act, you have to relate it to your daily life. Let's say, finder of the lost goods. What are the responsibilities of the finder of the lost goods? That's a question, right? You will be using some technical jargons related to that particular course. Responsibility 1, 2, 3, 4, like this you will present. Instead of doing that, if you're trying to present all rubbish, trash, hey, there's one woman who wrote, I said, sir, how do you know that it is a woman? You may be knowing, you may be wondering, I came to know that this student is a woman, you know, a business law at that time at the final year. So I came to know that it is a woman because she has narrated all her life story, okay, and for nearly 40 pages with beautiful handwriting. And let me tell you how many marks she scored. She scored, I gave her just 3 marks. And this happened 20 years back. She secured 3 marks for writing for 40 pages. And don't get carried away. You know, she wrote all the question answers, all the question numbers. In spite of that, in spite of beautiful handwriting, in spite of 40 pages, she secured 3 marks. Why? Because some of the technical terms, okay, some of the technical, you know, by seeing that, she has written a story. Right, out of inquisitiveness, the chief examiner wanted to read it and I gave that pleasure to him. But let me tell you, when you're writing a particular answer, you must know that there are certain words and sentences related to that topic. You should not miss it. I'll write in my own words, sir. This is common, you know, feeling of most of the students. What you'll write on your own, now you must learn formal way of expressing what you have learned. And that comes out of this highlighting while you're reading. When you're reading, if you keep on highlighting with different colors, then it is easy to remember, easy to recall. Okay. The third strategy is compensation strategy. I think we're running out of time. I think I have exceeded the time. Yes, I'll just share this presentation to
Moodle.
Yeah, Moodle, and please go through this presentation. And if any doubts, you're free to contact me or discuss with me. I think I've taken. No, I'm on time. So we'll close it here, and certain more things, a few more issues are there, but we don't have time. But go through the presentation and feel free to ask me any questions. We'll stop it here. If any questions are there, I'm ready to field them. Yes, please. Yes, sir. All the boys and girls. Any questions?
No more questions, sir.
If you want to put your question in the chat box as well.
I think some questions are there. Yeah. Okay.
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. There are no questions. Thank you so much for your time and patience. Thank you, madam, for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.